question about programming. What I said in 92 looked like some people keep talking about faster programming and not sure who they are and what they're talking about. So in 92 I said because my system is external, so it's not like I have house and house or building and building. My logics were, I did have experience with telephone systems before coming to Minnesota. I did have some previous experience with wireless to some extent and with telephone systems, so and electronics. My logics were like the telephone system, it has delay. I think my main, so I'm counting delay for the telephone. So because people are okay with the telephone delay, there is delay when you call to like overseas. If you say it's not necessary it's going to be the same time. It will be delay and they say so whatever you say there is a delay. And when I was thinking about my international network, I came to certain conclusions where it's kind of strange, but it's okay. In order to suppose this is hotel, right? And that one is a business. In order for that business to check this hotel, they might go to Utah and back. In some sense it doesn't make any sense, but in some sense, because I have international network attached there, it makes sense, because they go to Utah and then maybe to Japan, to Malaysia, to Singapore, to anywhere. Okay, so in this case, yeah, across the street doesn't make sense, but far away it makes sense. So I kept like this, with the counting that my system will have certain delay, but telephone systems have delay too. At that time, people were calling to Europe, to anywhere. They did not say, oh, I'm not gonna call because of small delay. They did not do that, right? In most cases, they did not do. In most cases, if they don't like to call, if every time it says line is busy, line is busy, line is busy. At that time, during the rush hour, certain hours, it was a time when it keeps telling you line is busy, try later or whatever, or you need to wait forever. So that was the main concern of that time. But that small delay, it's not. So I actually agreed, when I was thinking about the network configuration, I agreed with small delay. So like in case of internet, actually, if there is a building and there is another building, the wire goes, that would be internet. In my case, the wire doesn't go to other building, it goes to Utah and back to this building. So that's my configuration different. But then they don't have international, and I have, suppose, in Utah going to Japan or Europe, that's international. So my configuration is different. But I came to conclusion, yeah, there is a delay, but I want to reduce that delay. I'm okay with small delay because people are calling on the phone. They don't say, in most cases, they don't say, oh, I'm not gonna call because, oh, small delay. So they okay. Yeah, they wish the customer satisfaction would be most likely the smallest delay. So, but I came to conclusion I need networking or any whatever language. Like suppose they have a certain search or any language, anything. I want it faster. I want it faster than normal. My main purpose to make faster because I have delays because of low networks. For me to be compatible, suppose my goal is to be like a personal computer. You submit and after a while it will get. So, okay, if I have better processors outside than personal computer, I reduce on that delay. And if I have language or languages which are faster, but don't lose on security. My main thing was security, secure and fast. Secure because when it goes over the long network, it should be secure. Who knows what is going to happen on that line? So it should be secure. And then the speed, I want to speed up by any ways, be it search on drives or RAMs or search on whatever speed up the search would help me. So from what I see after 92 they were trying to play with different languages, but I see that's for e-commerce, for exploring. It's not really for like internal system like IBM. You know, like they were playing like Ruby or this. But mostly it's for exploring. It's not really for IBM. So, and like I guess some Boston people, New York, or some other people, we're not sure why they keep coming. Some kind of people keep coming, keep talking about faster this or that, but they're not really from the .com previous engineers or technicians or people. There's some political or party or whatever. Because when I came to the system, I told to my ex-wife everything, right? And later, she was repeating or putting on the paper, and they were implementing. But the thing is, I was here, and they started there, came here. I don't think she came, but her people she talked to came to US. Maybe even she came, I don't know. But because I'm divorced, on paper she made I'm married, in reality I'm divorced. So I don't know if she came back or not, but I did not see any. I didn't see her because I moved out. I lived in California many years, and I lived in Hawaii like 12 years or something. I did not live in Minnesota. So I left Minnesota, and I think the last time I've been in Minnesota it was beginning of 97. 97. After 97, I did not go to Minnesota. It was like I was in Bay Area, then I had to come back, and then in 97 I left back. I think 97. I left and I went to Santa Barbara. Went back to California. So, but anyway, even if they keep going and talking about my system, just it like the general idea is there is a delay on telephone line at that time. Even today, there is a delay, but people are okay with it. So me, because of certain configuration from building to building, I don't have. I have from building to my system back to other building. So in this case, I want to reduce the delay by any means, but I want to have secure and fast. So that's what they were talking about my stuff, but probably those who were talking did not know that I'm divorced. So they were talking with the thinking I'm married, but I'm not. So any language, to me, short language, to me, the language can be short because you make libraries. You don't need to make library compatible with any other ones. So suppose like Apple, even if it's Unix based, but the library, the computer library for the understanding the language is not the same as Unix. So it's working with Apple, right? So in my case, if that's what I had, I need to have my own language. Those who were talking about like what they call it, open source, I did not have open source. But those who were talking about faster language, secure, that's my plan. I did not have open source. So suppose to me to make faster, I can like you have certain words, I can make words shorter. I can do something to read faster. I think even one sign, if one sign is like, when one letter is like 1, 0, 0, whatever, 1 and 0, if I reduce on some and I make library to understand, I can cut on certain, maybe E, O, A, certain, like, you know, like international. I don't need to write international. I can put ENTL or something, whatever. So my library will understand. So I can make work with my library. Or any other ways. Now, I'm not really a programmer, but they have a program with constantly running. Like there are loops constantly running. I want to eliminate constantly running. My personal opinion. I don't want any constantly running. Any loops constantly running would run the processor. I don't like to run processor for too many things. Basically, you overheat if there is something constantly running. So, anyways, I would need to talk to probably to PhD or anyone to run faster, the processor not so hot. Now, security-wise, like I said, I don't believe in open source is secure, because if everybody knows, they can do all kind of stuff. But like suppose Apple, people don't know, and from what I know, it's harder to get in to that computer. The Apple computer is harder to get in because the programming wise, they don't know. So that was actually my thinking in '92 and talking for my external system. I actually think it should be even more secure than personal computer. If it's harder to get in inside of Apple computer, which is originally in '91 it was for internal use. I've seen it like inside of in '92 I've seen Apple inside of like FedEx. You cannot rent Apple computer for external exploring. You cannot. For public, no. Maybe they had for FBI, CIA, but for normal people like on the street, If they walk in, no, they cannot. They can use programs inside of Apple, but you cannot explore anything at that time. So when I came to the system, my thinking was, okay, they have computers supposed to secure, right? But because I have more people and I have more stuff going, I need to have even more security. So that would be another reason to reduce on speed, to reduce on processing, to have higher speed. So my main goal is to have, suppose I want more security, then it's going to be slower. Then I need to increase speed. I need the programming to work faster, but secure. So it's a kind of I would say certain challenge or something. You need to resolve to find optimal, like ultimate, some kind of decision or conclusion, and then after that stay with that unless you find something better, to change to something better. Compatibility at that time, I did not care about compatibility with Microsoft or Apple or anyone, because my external system originally should not be compatible with any computer brands, because I don't like people to connect exploring to companies' computers and steal information or transfer or whatever. So my main goal was to be secure, have difference. But the browser wise, because the browser have to work with my external system, the browser can be compatible, but the rest is not. Compatible in terms of made to work with that, made to work with that external system. But like I said, my main goal is not to work with any computers. So if there is a computer with my system, and if there is like bank or some kind of information considered secure, I don't like that information to go to my system. That would be me representing higher risk. I did not like the high risk. I actually, even today, I'm not okay with open source. They have a lot of open source. I don't believe in it. I believe they can study open source at university. That's how it was. But I do not like to have open source for my system, because then they try to reprogram something or do something. They go inside of my system and they can find a way to do something, because everything there is in open source, and they know that. They would be like programmers that found a way to program or reprogram or make crash. You see what I mean? Now, if they study, like suppose Apple, some might study open source, but when they go to Apple, they need to kind of go with that way. It's not really open source, and they probably need to keep silence. Then they're not supposed to keep talking everywhere. Probably. That was my vision actually for that time. My system should be secure, because I don't like complaints. I don't like complaints of other people, because it's very easy. I knew electronics. It's very easy to connect cables or some kind of this to other one and try to transfer, try to get something. I don't like even idea like CD. They put CD into personal computer of the company, and then that CD they use information to transfer. So suppose I put one CD and I recorded information of the company, and I put CD in the computer and I transfer or send that information online to someone else. I don't like that idea. Personally, my system had to be as alternative, but it's not supposed to offer that kind of way. So I don't like people to connect wires and do something, or even CD, put CD and then transfer, unless it's like authorized or approved, or suppose they have certain code that the company, a certain special code gives them the code, and that with that code they can place that particular information on particular, maybe what they call cloud, external storage, with a particular code that allows, kind of authorizing. Otherwise, I don't like they just keep stealing information, keep sending. I don't like it, and I don't like open source. Me, if I would do anything, I would get rid of open source. Yeah, politicians talk about open source. You need to understand, you trade on Wall Street. Okay, you offer people to invest. Open source actually is known as not for business. It's for university to use. There are certain things like copyrights and all that make easier for people to use for university student. Otherwise, if it's private language, there are certain obligations they cannot use, they cannot do, but that language is okay for them to do. Now, when you trade, you need to offer yours, but that language is not yours. Or it should be something more business, kind of like Microsoft or Apple. It's more for business, but open source is not really for business. So, to me, I would stay with my own language, or particular language I did order from some people. It could be not my language, I did order. Like Snapple company, they don't grow stuff, they order. You grow for me, you grow for me. When they started Snapple company, beverage company. So you grow for me and I buy, and you bottle for me. So all they did, they just tell one to grow, another to bottle. But they were taking care of sales or certain things. So in my case, I don't need to think about programming. I can order certain programming. I can ask this or that. At the end, I'm gonna use because I paid for it. It's mine. But I don't like open source. So anyway, so the basic idea is to make faster, because all those slow networks, and especially international network, if I submit here in California and it goes to China, go to Japan or India, there is a delay. I can tell you the delays. When you submit, I have provider. After provider, it goes to my network. In most cases, provider don't run to my computers based on my 92. That's why you see Google is running under the ocean. That's not provider's way, that's my way, to run under the ocean. So it's a certain network that you have, but then providers connect at some point to that network, certain hub or whatever you might call it. So you submit, it goes to a provider, then goes to network, then goes to redirection, right? And then goes to that particular country like Japan. So you have a lot of wires, you have a lot of cables. It is delay. In general, for telephone system, the longer the wires, the more complicated that network. Plus, they have electronics, all those for telephone to dial or whatever, relay, all that stuff. So you have a bunch of things which is like at the end would give you a delay. So in my case, I have a bunch of international things would give you delay. So I have my main goal is to make faster, but I don't want to lose on security. So fast and security. That's why they were talking, keep coming and talking about this. Another delay if you have like satellite. In some cases, I had satellite. So it goes from me, goes to provider, and from provider it can go to like short network, not my long network under the ocean, but short network, and it goes to satellite transmitter. Transmitter is submitting, and suppose there is satellite. I had suppose one satellite between America and Asia. So I have the suppose receiver and then again transmitter. If I can transmit from here to Asia, maybe without that stuff, maybe it's better, but I doubt the distance. You need to have very strong signal. Very strong signal and this frequency and I don't know. So anyway, I did look at less power. So if I assume less power, I put satellite between America and between Asia. Now if I put satellite, it goes to satellite. So okay, so and then from satellite go to Asia. Asia has a receiver, and then it goes to system, whatever computers, and then the result go back to transmitter to satellite, and then so it's receiving and transmitting to here and here. So receiving and then it goes back to line. See what I mean? So with that way, you're still gonna expect delay. You need to expect anytime you deal with electronics, long cables, long wireless, you expect delay. So I need language that helps me, I guess, to make the customer satisfaction better and not bunch of delays. So you see the ocean? Look at the ocean. It's kind of like endless. So that's not all. After that again, look like endless. So that would be delay. For the cable, that would be delay. Now, if you assume this, that was like previous configuration. You put the cable between few houses, so you have network. But with that network, it's hard to make international network. And realistically, for each guy to explore 100,000 or 1 million or 1 billion houses, you would need to connect all those cables, to the house. That's how I see it. So every house would need to have live cables. In my case, you see, I don't have. by case it goes to external system and it might come back to this house. So, but there is a delay. Now, if I have from this house go to external system in Japan and back, that would be delayed. So that would be my main concern, the delay, because of the wire. Now, I had like two versions, one dial-up and one second digital telephone line to share. It was my first version and that's what you've seen, the telephone line, because the box was already there. But my goal was to have digital box, digital specially designed for exploring. Some houses have it. Some houses have just the Wi-Fi. But the Wi-Fi is the same. Wi-Fi is going to the line. It should be like certain box and Wi-Fi going to the line. That Wi-Fi doesn't go to Utah. Suppose you have system in Utah, it does not go to Utah. That Wi-Fi should have certain kind of unit and it goes to line. So it's the same as basically connecting a computer with a cable. Instead of cable you have a certain gap which is wireless. So, but again, you might have delay on Wi-Fi, on any wireless, because any electronics, any cable can give you some delay. But there are a few ways I see for myself, like I said. It's processors, electronics, language, security, maybe secure but fast. Thicker cables, thicker wires. Today they have fiber optics. Fiber optics would be one of the ways. So that's shortly about language and my thinking of 92.